Hey guys, welcome back.
Similarly, you can try replace. Replace is it will find a certain character and replaces that character. And you can also do compare to, which compares one string with another string. And you can also do compare to ignore case. So it will compare two strings, but it won't care about upper and lower cases or camel cases, for that matter any case. It will make sure those two strings are alphabetically the same. Now let us do length on a string, because we want to do this so that we can use in our complex example we are going to do. This is a little bit complex only for the starters. So how we can do a length is, it's always the same, name.length, and mouse over to make sure what it is returning. Here it is returning int, so it is giving us back an integer. Okay, so that's what you need to pay attention to, what it is returning and what it is taking. Those are the two important things. Save, right click, run as, and here the length of that word automation is 10. Now let us do a little exercise. Okay, let us print the automation in reverse order, only using the skills we have at this moment. There might be different options to do that, but let us use what we have right now. Okay, so my goal is to print this automation as N O I T A M O T U A. Okay, that is our goal. We want to print the automation in reverse order, and let's do that. For a brief moment, think about it, how you can do that, right? So think about it. Automation is a word and we want to print in the reverse order. So definitely we need the length of it, right? Length of it, so that you can grab each one of the character and put it back in the reverse order, starting from the back. So I need to start from N. Okay, so if I know the length of this one, then I know I need to start at 10 and come back, right? So that's the logic we are going to use. So using the length and starting at the 10th position, we will come back. Okay, and once we know the length and also we need to come from the back, we need to use a loop to be doing it a little bit efficiently. So we will use a for loop which starts at the end and gets the value of each location and stores into a different variable. Okay, so here let us say for int I equal to the length of the string, which is dot length. Okay, so that's where I want to start, which is 10, right? So I want to start at the 10th location, and loop condition is it should go up to as long as the value is greater than 0. Okay, and then this is the interesting part. since we are coming in the reverse order, you need to decrement the value of I. Okay, I minus minus. And this for loop here is basically starting at 10th location and running until the I value is greater than 0. That means until 1, right? I minus minus is the decrementer, so that we can move along from back 10th position to one position. So here now we need to store this thing in a different variable. So I will declare that variable as reverse string reverse, which is empty initially, but here in the for loop we are going to use that reverse as a placeholder, which will have the value of each location. So each location, we need to get character from each location, which would be the original one, which is this one or this one, the name dot char at index. This is where we will make use of our I value. So it is starting at 10, and so it will get that character, so which would be the n first, and add it to reverse. Initially the reverse is what? It's empty. And as a for loop progresses, we are adding n, o, I, t in the reverse order to this particular variable. Okay, so with that, let us try to print out, otherwise we don't know what's going on. So we'll do a sys and reversed string is this one, which should match up to this one. Our expected value is this. Okay, Control S, run as Java application, and we see expected main string index out of bound exception. Okay, so this, we are getting an exception, we are getting an error saying that it's out of bound. So let us take a look at it, what's going on here. Generally it happens when we are trying to get a location, a string from a location which does not exist. Either we are trying to get from 11th location or trying to access from negative location. So that could be the reason. Let us take a look at, I know the problem, but now let us try to figure out what char at is doing. Okay, I will open up the Java documentation for that. So here we are in the Java string documentation. Char at returns the char value at the specified index. Here it is not mentioned, but generally the char at, if you are using the char at, it uses the index starting with 0. That means 0th, if you use char at 0, it will capture the 0th location, which is A. But in our code, we are not. But in our code, we are trying to access the 10th location. Technically, right, because the length of the automation is 10, but since the char starts at 0, which means by the number 9, it will reaches the n, which is automation n, the last one, right? We are not counting the 0. That's why we ran into out of bound exception. One more time, index, how it works is, index starts from 0. So if char at 0 means it will return A. If char at 1 means it will return U in automation spelling. So that is why we are running into an out of bound exception, because here we are trying to get a character which is number value of 10, but automation ended at 9 because it started at 0. So we're trying to get a character which is 10, which does not exist as per the char at definition. So what we have to do is we need to tweak this a little bit so that we will decrease the length by -1, right? And run this now so that we won't run into out of bound exception. Right click, run as Java application. The reverse string is, we got the reverse string, but we are missing A. Since we decreased on the other end here, greater than 0 is looking for only till location 1. We want to factor in the 0th location also. If you want to use 0, we need to put I greater than or equal to 0, so that we will be using char at 0, which is nothing but char at 0 is A. Okay, char at 0 is A, char at 9 is N. Since we started with a 0, it will end up at 9. Previously we tried to do with 10, which is out of bound of that string. Now let us run one more time, and we can see the reverse string is exactly the same as what we expected. So here is the trick. To reiterate, basically char at works with the index value starting at 0. So char at 0 means it's A location, char at 9 means N location, but name.length returns us 10, right? Because the length of the automation is 10. So we try to start at 10. 10 does not have any value in terms of char at, because char at is looking for starting at number 9. So that's why we got out of bound exception. Now that we fixed the starting point as 9 and go until 0, because 0 it will consider that, so then we got the exact reverse string. Okay, I elaborated this a little bit so that the first timers can get a better understanding of index at and how to solve a problem when you run into it by looking at the documentation. And probably you also want to sys out something like name.char at, so it prints out every time every character it runs into. So that also will help you. Okay, so we can figure out by checking the documentation on sysout statements to resolve the issue. So it's a long class on string handling. This is where I end the session, but I will give you 2 assignments right below this, so that you can work on them to practice more of string handling. You may now move on to the next one. Thank you.